Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of April 25th, 2021. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, and it is a rare one. In fact, I would say that it is a rare occurrence that we see a week like this that is at once filled with intensity and emotion, but also liberation. That is lustful and surprising, that is deeply transformative, but also frustrating. It is one that holds the potential for great freedom, great change, great possibility, but also an intensity of emotion that feels complex and uncertain and determined. It is one of those very rare weeks where we are going to feel it all and at the same time break free from lower vibrations, lower emotions. And part of the freedom is the judgment. What is lower? What is higher? What we do know is that when we align with greater love and greater wisdom, those of course are considered higher states of consciousness, higher states of being. But there are all kinds of ways to realize love and wisdom in our lives, even those ways that we may judge as lower. Feelings of intensity, of jealousy, of desire can be pathways towards greater love and greater wisdom with our intention. And so it is a very special astrological week. We have got a supermoon. We have got Pluto going retrograde in about 15 hours after the supermoon. And we've got the most shocking day of the year. And in the middle of it all, a very active Mercury helping us to make sense of it. So let's start with the full moon, because I do think that is getting all the glitz and the glamour and the glory now. And this full moon takes place in the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio itself is an energy of transformation, of regeneration. I always think of this as the snake shedding dead skin. That is the promise of Scorpion energy, the promise of renewal, of rebirth, of beginning again, of starting fresh. But it's a full moon, and full moons bring things to fruition. They bring about a sense of culmination. But here's the thing, Uranus is standing right across the sky from this full moon. So yes, there will be karmic closures, but they will likely happen very quickly, very suddenly. There will likely be powerful insights that invite us to elevate our energy. But at the same time, there are these other energies that are just so attractive because of their lust, because of their obsessive quality, which is part of what Scorpion energy can sometimes represent. Now, this more obsessive quality of this time, to me, is emphasized by the fact that the ruling planet of this full moon, the ruling planet of Scorpio, is Pluto. And it is Pluto that will go retrograde now. So the full moon happens on Monday for most people out there around the world, and it is on Tuesday that Pluto goes retrograde. Pluto standing still in the sky. Whenever it is that a planet is gearing up to change directions, it is especially close to the Earth. It is considered especially powerful, but it is also considered an especially karmic time. The things that we are feeling, everything from the elation to the frustration, everything from the desire to the fulfillment to the liberation of that desire, all of it has a karmic notation to it. An insight, an understanding that this is part of some higher, more loving vision for our lives, for our individual journeys. Yes, there are very obsessive qualities here. But there are also qualities here that invite us to get more honest with ourselves. What is the reality of our situation? And with that intention, and even if we don't set that intention, the reality, the truth reveals itself to us in an instant. That is the power of a supermoon. Supermoons are filled with super emotion. You add to it a supermoon in a water sign, and you add to it a supermoon in the sign of Scorpio, well, there's that much more emotion. So many of us are going to be feeling so strongly and are going to be invited to contemplate the truth of what we're feeling beyond just our initial desire, beyond the lust, beyond the sense of the pull, that sense of being pulled by fate in a particular direction. What is the heart of the matter? What is the truth of the matter? It reveals itself to us in an instant, in a way that is undeniable. And that's the thing about the truth. Once the truth is revealed, once you see, you cannot go back. Once change has occurred, once consciousness has occurred, you cannot go back to being unconscious. You cannot go back to kidding yourself that things are a certain way. And so this is a time when a whole lot of us are going to be waking up in at least one area of life where we have indulged very strong emotion, very strong feeling, where it is that we've given in to frustration without necessarily looking at pathways to freedom. It is going to be this supermoon that invites us to feel it all, the intensity, to feel it burn, if you will, and to move through that emotion and to find freedom from that intensity in an instant. Healthy detachment. But the allure of the obsession, of the compulsion is so strong now. There is an addictive quality to it that is very strong. But if we are willing to contemplate, to consider, this can be one of those times that invites us to shed dead skin. What happens when a snake sheds dead skin? It reveals a more vibrant self. It reveals a stronger self. It reveals a self that is renewed and refreshed and engaged and feeling more of the earth, of its life than it did before. Now consider this as well. On Friday, we are going to have the most shocking day of the year. But in many ways, this sense of shock and surprise starts with that full moon. Because that full moon is standing across the sky from Uranus, there's already that element of shock and surprise. You add to it the most shocking day of the year at right around Friday for most people out there. Well, look, it is these days towards the end of the week where that more surprising element is that much more amplified for us. And this is revelation. This is realization that can change everything. But ultimately it is good. This can dramatically change our direction, whether we like it or not. This is an energy of extremes. With the Scorpio supermoon and Pluto going retrograde, we've got an extreme of emotion. And then you add the fact that we've got the sun meeting Uranus in the sky. We've got an extreme of reactions and actions, an extreme of realization, an extreme of shifts in identity that a lot of people are going to be going through, shifts in circumstance that a lot of people are going to be going through. So either this energy will leap us into our future, have us feeling like, wow, we've arrived at an even better future than we could have planned for ourselves, or it will dramatically shift our circumstances so that we have a moment where we're not really certain where we're going to go or what we're going to do or what's meant to transpire now. Regardless of what the immediacy looks like, we are headed in a positive and empowered direction. To give you a little bit of a heads up, it is going to be next week that the sun is going to speak in a conversation of tension with Saturn that is facing the reality of the situation. And then as we navigate further into May, it is going to be the sun that will ultimately align in supreme harmony with Pluto. Now that energy is so meaningful, it is so powerful, it can transform our circumstances for the better, restore us to power, help us to feel powerful, help us to feel unstoppable. So whatever may be happening now, it's important to keep that perspective because that perspective is right around the corner. The perspective that whatever may be happening now, whether it seems shocking or surprising or life-changing in a great way or circumstance changing in a way that feels scary or uncertain, it is so much more important to embrace the uncertainty. As Eckhart Tolle says, when you get comfortable with uncertainty, infinite opportunities open up in your life. That sense of infinite opportunity, that is right around the corner. That is coming up later on in May with the Sun trine Pluto. And I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. But at least for now, know that if you find yourself on a bit of a roller coaster, whether that is a roller coaster of emotion, whether that is a roller coaster of circumstance, whether that is a roller coaster of transition and transformation and change, know that it is leading you somewhere very good, very good. Now, what I would also add with these very powerful energies is for the collective, and I always try to say this with caution. I don't know if I'm going to leave this in the video. I may edit it out, because I do think that this sense of frustration isn't just happening on an individual level. It is happening on an individual level for a lot of us in at least one area of life. But we may see some of this energy on a collective level as well, where there are people who want change, where there are sporadic or erratic or over-the-top demonstrations, where people are frustrated with their circumstances and wanting transformed circumstances, wanting meaningful change, wanting to understand what's really going on or what really is the truth. And so it becomes that much more important for us to be willing to contemplate more deeply what it means to express ourselves in ways that are loving and wise, to express ourselves and whatever it is that we may feel in ways that also honor our experience, in ways that also honor each other, in ways that are kind and yet true to ourselves, in ways that may be fierce on the surface, but also have a gentleness to them. Finding that right balance is going to be key now, and thankfully we've got some things happening in the sky that do suggest we may be able to do just that, to find that happy medium where we can express our truth, where we can honor our frustration in at least one area of life, or perhaps in terms of circumstances, wider circumstances, but to do so in a way that is still kind to others. So what is it that we're having? Well, at the very beginning of the week, we've got Mercury and Venus together in the sky, speaking in a conversation of tension with Saturn. This is where those Saturn squares can really come in handy, because they invite us to be realistic, to stay grounded, to stay measured. They invite us to be responsible and mature. Now, squares can represent tension and frustration, but they also encourage us to take action. And with Saturn, we are taking practical steps, smart action to move forward. That meeting of Mercury and Venus, I just love that energy. It is one of mind and heart connecting in powerful ways. With Saturn there, we are invited to embody this energy, to make it real, to make it manifest. As we navigate further into the week, on Thursday, Mercury will speak in harmony with Neptune. This is a beautiful energy. It is creative on the one hand. It is inspired. It is spiritual. It is inviting us to cultivate compassion for ourselves and for each other on this journey. Remember this, the Scorpio full moon is going to invite us to engage the alchemical process in at least one area of life. Now, alchemy is an ancient tradition that was the consideration, the contemplation, the philosophy of turning lead into gold. There was a very practical way of approaching this. So there were certainly people, especially in the ancient world, who were very passionate about figuring out the right formula, the right chemical balance to turn lead into gold. But we now understand this to be powerfully symbolic as well. This was a spiritual practice as it was understood in the ancient world. It wasn't simply scientific, or at least the way that we understand science today. It was integrated. It was part of a symbolic understanding of the world around us. But today we look at the process of alchemy, of turning that has felt laden, that has felt burdensome, that has weighed us down, and how is it that we can turn that into our great wealth. Consider this as well, when it is that we are living in a way that is perhaps not always honoring of our personal truth, when we don't allow the alchemical process to occur, when we don't allow change to occur, sometimes that can feel burdensome. It can feel as if we are heavier as we move through the world. And of course, I'm talking about spiritually and emotionally. And as we are willing to engage a path of happiness, of lightness, we then are able to access that very energy that we could call gold. We become golden, right? There's that phrase, being golden. It means being well. It means being able to take that which we thought was so difficult, so challenging, so heavy, and seeing it as, or transforming our perspective of it, or transforming our circumstances so that that very thing becomes our great wealth. Now consider this as well. Gold is considered a part of generational wealth in many places around the world. It is one of those things that is handed down from generation to generation or cultivated as a way to affirm security within a family or within family members. And so, in many ways, the work we do on ourselves, symbolically speaking, the work we do on ourselves to transform our own lead into gold, our own wounds into wisdom, ultimately ends up being a great source of wealth to our descendants. And by descendants, I don't just mean physical descendants. It isn't just the people that we are linked to through DNA or physical DNA, but the people that we may share our love with, that we may share our experiences with, that we may share our mind and intellect and thoughts and ideas. They are changed as a result. And it is through this sense of connecting with others, this sense of knowing that every moment is an opportunity to cultivate a new descendant of what it is that you uniquely have to give. Your unique gold ultimately is meant to be shared and can continue to enrich lives well after a moment of that exchange of energy takes place. What I love about this week for us, well, look, there's a lot here. It is a powerful time. It is karmic. Remember that. Both Pluto and Uranus are powerfully associated with karma. They are powerfully associated with events taking place that we may not necessarily have planned, but have a perfection to them. Feelings that ultimately strive to be understood, a transformation of circumstances that ultimately is part of aligning us with greater love and greater wisdom, even when it doesn't look that way on the surface. The simple intention, the simple consideration of how it is that perhaps whatever we may be feeling, however all-consuming it may feel, because especially with all this Scorpion energy, a super full moon in the sign of Scorpio and Pluto going retrograde, our own feelings, our own wounds may feel all-consuming at this time. Our own desires, our lust, that pull, our compulsions may feel as if we have dived in to them. And yet the intention to consider how this moment is part of your larger journey towards greater love and greater wisdom transforms the energy, in some cases dramatically so, and in some cases in an instant. That's how Uranus likes to do things, quickly, in an instant. And once awareness takes place, once that moment, that healthy detachment takes place, where we are at least willing to see how this emotion, this moment fits into that larger vision, when we're willing to consider it, that in and of itself puts us on the pathway towards greater riches. Riches that are not necessarily definable and yet worth more than gold. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys, and to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you so much to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much to me. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all of the sky speaks to you in your sign this week, you can log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Now you can be a superstar for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Tuition or Choose Your Membership rate, only at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. With $3 a month, you get access to the expanded exclusive video scopes for each and every sign, each and every week. Just $3 a month. Higher tiers get you access to things like Synchronicity University class passes, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. Now, I will say that for this week, I made sure to talk about what Pluto retrograde means for each and every sign, to talk about what the most shocking day of the year means for each and every sign as well. And I would invite you to watch not just your sun sign, but be sure to watch your rising sign as well. Your rising sign or your ascendant, it's pretty easy to find out online if you know your time of birth. So if you have your time of birth, you can get your ascending sign and then find a way to synthesize the two. That really is key because you'll see how both work as layers in your life. So I'm a big believer, and especially lately I've been finding, boy, those horoscopes with my ascending sign really are resonating, but so do the sun signs as well. So however you are inspired, I would invite you, come to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. I look forward to meeting you there. Synchronicity University, May 2021 speaker series is right around the corner, and we've got some of the biggest names in astrology this time around. I'm so excited to present to you some amazing speakers for as low as just $5 a class. So Choose Your Tuition rate is on just for a few more days, until the end of April. So April is going to end this week. A new month begins this week as well. So we are going to have some incredible speakers this time around. We have got YouTube stars, Stormie Grace. She's going to be speaking on magical Mercury retrograde. And we've got Acyuta, and he's going to be speaking on mystical Saturn. Now, actually, he recently sat down with me for an interview, a virtual interview, and I posted that interview on my YouTube channel. So I'll try to link to it below as well. But he spoke about mystical Saturn and how Saturn has been understood throughout history, throughout the ages. It was a fascinating conversation we had, and I absolutely love him. So do check that out. It'll give you a preview of what you can learn for as low as just $5 a class. We also have my dear friend, Armand Diaz, who's considered one of the world experts on the astrology of breakups. He's written books about it. So that's going to be very exciting in and of itself to see what aspects can bring us to that place of changing directions where it comes to the relationships that we are in. Rachel Schwartz, world-renowned expert in Kabbalistic astrology. So this brings Jewish mysticism to astrology, and I am really looking forward to this. I courted her. I was like, I really want you to come to my school. I didn't even know her personally, but I was like so impressed with her work, and I'm so glad that she agreed to speak at Synchronicity University. So she's going to be teaching one of the classes. And we also have my friend Samuel Reynolds from Unlock Astrology, and he's going to be talking about the lunar nodes, roping in your nodes, he calls it. So we've got an all-star team as part of the faculty for the May speaker series at synchronicityuniversity.com. Remember, there's just a few more days left to choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University, Michael Barwick is back, hugely popular astrologer, and he's going to be teaching on traditional techniques for the 21st century astrologer. Now, Michael Barwick is brilliant. He is my astrologer, and actually we had a conversation earlier today, and I have to post that online. I'll post it very soon. But it was about Pluto retrograde and what that's going to mean for us as a collective and individually as well. And he touched on his upcoming course, Choose Your Tuition Rate is on now for just a few more days. And remember, with Choose Your Tuition Rate for traditional astrology, I mean, this low rate of just $5 a class is unheard of. And he is so brilliant. He is who I consider my astrologer. He's the one I go to when something's going on in my life and I need a different perspective on my chart. Because I can look at my chart and I can see the aspects. Then I go to him and he might notice something different, or he might word it in a different way. And it makes all the difference. So he's my astrologer and I'm so excited that he's coming back. He was hugely popular last time with his class on the fixed stars. Now he's going to be teaching us some fundamentals where it comes to traditional astrology. Things like temperament, like joys and debilities, things like essential dignities, the Arabic parts, the Hellenistic lots. All of this is going to be covering. I think it's going to be so much fun. So he spoke to me a couple of weeks back where he went into detail what he's going to be teaching. And now with this interview that we just did today, it's a lot more about Pluto. Then he just touches on it at the end, so you get some insights into what you're going to learn with his traditional astrology course. And you get to see him and meet him and hear him all over again. So links will be in the description below. SynchronicityUniversity.com. Choose Your Tuition Rate is on for just a few more days, as low as just $5 a class. And I look forward to meeting you in class. I know I'm really looking forward to learning with Michael as well at SynchronicityUniversity.com. My own classes with Synchronicity University are happening now, as well as summer school is coming up very soon. Also, now with summer school, you choose your tuition rate until the end of May. So you've got a little bit of time there, but until the end of May, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. We've got amazing classes coming up, including classes in pet astrology, in rectification, which is figuring out someone's birth time when they don't know their birth time. We're going to have classes on the 7th house. We're going to have more classes on the 3rd house. We're going to have aspects to the IC and so much more. So very exciting classes coming up. As part of the spring session that's on right now, earlier today we had a very lively class that had to do with the 3rd house in astrology. People were saying, wow, I had no idea there was so much to know about the 3rd house, but it really was so much fun. We actually went through different celebrity charts, and then we looked at like celebrity interviews to see their communication styles and what they say. So that was so much fun to do. Now coming up this week, we are going to have a class on the 4th house, the ruling planet of the 4th house. So it's the 4th house, part 3. So it would be wonderful if you could join us to learn more and understand more deeply the 4th house. Somebody who was in the class today said that they watched part 1 and 2 and how deeply meaningful it was to them to understand their 4th house more deeply. So you can learn more about this upcoming class and so many more at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. And you can get my take on your unique birth chart by checking out my partnership with Cosmogram. Click on the link in the description below. It'll take you to the Cosmogram website. There you enter in your birth data, and within hours you will get a PDF copy of my interpretation of your unique birth chart, where I go through the different sections and actually look at what these different planetary aspects in your chart mean. Thank you so much to everybody who has purchased one of these. They are so popular, and I appreciate it so much to have your trust. And I do believe that these reports can be deeply transformative and deeply meaningful. It allows you to consider yourself symbolically as it shows up in your unique birth chart. So check out my partnership with Cosmogram. Link is in the description below. There's sample charts there. You'll know exactly what it is that you're going to get in advance. And it is through the Cosmogram website that you get my unique interpretation of your unique birth chart. And I hope you absolutely love it. Link in the description below. And I have now relocated to Mexico City. I am in my new home and I'm very excited about that. First, let me just say that I will be doing a limited amount of consultations in Mexico City the first 2 weeks of May. And so for the first 2 weeks of May, a limited number of consultations, in-person consultations, are available in Mexico City. If you're interested in that, you can use the contact form on my website or email. It'll be somewhere here on the screen. And check that out if you are in the Mexico City area. And I did want to share with you something more personal as well, because last week, I tell you, you all really helped me to understand more deeply a profound spiritual lesson. And for that, I am so eternally grateful. So what was happening with me last week, if you watched, you know, I was in a hotel. And basically, I was supposed to be here, but there were some problems happening with the condo, and I was upset. And when I was doing tarot readings around it, I was getting all kinds of messed up cards. And I knew I had to shift the energy, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And so I came on, I was recording my video at the end, and I kind of said, like, you know, please send positive energy. I really need it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to leave it in the video, but I decided to. And boy, did you guys really come through for me. There was so much love, so much positive energy. In the comments to the video, I got lots of emails, I got messages sending me positive energy as well. And I'll tell you, shortly after that video was published and people started watching and making these comments and sending me messages, I kept getting the Ace of Cups again and again. And that was very powerful to me. That was a powerful symbol to me. And then the condo came together. I moved in here earlier this week, and it really does feel like home. It feels like where I'm supposed to be. I can feel it within me that this is where I'm supposed to be in terms of being in this city at this time. Now, I have been sharing on social media my new space. I walked in, and right away I put on one of my favorite songs by Lizzo, which is called Soulmate. I am my own soulmate. I put that on, and I walked in, and I just knew I was home. And I want to thank you so much with all my heart. And part of the reason I want to thank you is I feel like it was a profound spiritual insight that I had as a result of sharing my journey and seeing how it was that our positive intention, the way that we use our minds, the way that we can decide to love each other, how deeply transformative it is. And I don't say it lightly. I feel changed in some way. I feel different. I feel like I'm becoming that much more aware of the power of our thoughts, the power of our intentions, the power of love. And love is for self, yes, but it's also for each other when we give love to each other. Even if it's sending a burst of love in a comment in a YouTube video. How deeply powerful that is, that we have the potential to change lives for the better, but we also have the potential to change the world. If we can change lives, if you could, with your positive intention and positive energy, change my experience, change the tarot cards that were showing up. If you could do that, imagine what we could do globally, imagine what we could do in our communities, imagine what we could do for each other. And so this is part of the very deep contemplation I'm having right now, and it's very fitting with some of the things that are happening in my chart. I spoke about that with Michael Barwick actually in the interview that I'm going to publish within a day or so of this video being published. So if you want to know a little bit more about what's happening in my chart and this spiritual lesson, you can check that out. But I do want to say a heartfelt, extremely heartfelt gratitude to you, because it really is in understanding this lesson that I feel and I believe that I can be that much more effective and I can have that much more a rewarding experience personally, yes, but hopefully to fulfill my purpose. And I believe that my purpose is to affirm greater love and greater wisdom in the world. And that's the intention behind everything that I do. And if directing my thoughts and directing my energy, if focusing on how I can give love is part of affirming love and wisdom in the world, which it seems like it is, and can make me more effective in doing that, well, that's a lesson, a very powerful spiritual lesson that you facilitated for me. And for that, I am truly eternally grateful. My audience, my friends, my fans, my superstars, my students, you guys don't realize that, I mean, yes, I feel so grateful to be some part of your spiritual journey, but you are also part of mine. And for that, you have my eternal gratitude. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.